8th episode of Friends and Film, a podcast where we talk about the latest movie news and theatrical releases. I'm your host, Cooper Hood, at Coops_Hoops on Twitter, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Josh Straley, at Straley Strong on Twitter. You can follow the podcast on Twitter as well, at Friends and Film, and subscribe to us on SoundCloud and iTunes at Friends and Film using the and sign. You can also find us on YouTube, where you can simply find us by searching Friends and Film, where you can find all of our podcasts with some visual aids. We have pictures. Just go along with our voices in case you just don't want to hear us. You can kind of look at what we're talking about as well. But on today's episode, we're going to be reviewing Zoolander 2, the sequel that came 15 years too late. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about some movie news. If that's okay with you, Josh?
That is very much okay with me, Cooper, because if anyone didn't know, this is a movie podcast where we talk about news. So that's pretty consistent for us.
Yeah, we are coming to you on a very, very nice day here in Indiana. Weather's great. It's like 70 degrees in February. It's great.
Couldn't ask for a better day to be inside and cooped up in a studio.
You cannot. But we're going to get to our first news story, which is Star Wars Episode 8. Had a little production teaser and a official cast revealed. And along those, the cast announced was the long-rumored Benicio del Toro has officially joined the cast alongside Laura Dern and Kelly Marie Tran. The synopsis reads, Rey took her first steps into a larger world in Star Wars The Force Awakens and will continue her epic journey with Finn, Poe, and Luke Skywalker in the next chapter of the continuing Star Wars saga, Star Wars Episode 8. Go ahead.
letting me off the leash. So in case you guys haven't seen the production teaser, it just continues the epic stare down between Rey and Luke Skywalker, and then it closes up on Luke's face, and I swear he's about to say something, and then bam, they drop the hammer, and it's like, nope, just kidding, guys. Back to the real world. I am excited about Benicio del Toro in his role, because that can mean so many things, right?
Yeah, I liked the teaser. I mean, it was just a sweeping shot up to Scully, Michael Island, and then Luke and Rey in the same positions we saw them at the end of Star Wars 7, just from a different angle. And then you got to see Rian Johnson, the director, yell cut and say, "We're filming Episode 8 or on to Episode 8 or whatever he said." So I mean, it was nice to just see it and just know Star Wars is back. For real. It's not like, Rogue One is coming this year, but we don't have to. We have to wait a little longer than initially thought for Episode 8, but it's coming, and I'm very much looking forward to it, especially with Benicio del Toro.
Absolutely.
On the cast. I'm not sure. He's been rumored to be the bad guy or a bad guy, so you'd have to think Knights of Ren, possibly maybe a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
I don't really know what my ideal role for him would be.
I didn't think about this until just this exact second, but could Benicio del Toro be Boba Fett?
I actually just thought that as well.
I know. I didn't think about it until I was like, you know what? Maybe the Knights of Ren don't have this evil guy, and it's actually Boba Fett who would, fit that 30 years later age time frame thing.
Yeah, I don't know how old Benicio is. I mean, I'm assuming. I think he's he's near 50, somewhere around there. I would think. So that would mean Boba was. I mean, let's see. He was 11 in Episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
So then you take 30 years between that and Episode 4.
40 years.
40 years. So
yeah,
I mean, that puts him at 51.
Perfect.
At the original trilogy. And then you add another 30.
Ooh.
So that's 80.
It's actually 20 years. So
20 years between 6 and 7?
Between Episode 2 and
4?
And A New Hope, Star Wars.
Okay, so 20, you factor 5 years in for the events of the original trilogy. Mm-hmm. It's 25 plus 30-ish years between 6 and 7. That's 55 years added on to whatever his age was at episode 2.
60.
So 60 something. It's possible, which it would be cool,
That would
especially
be so cool.
if, because I know they had talks about a Boba Fett anthology movie,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe they're scrappy. And there's been rumors that they're not going to do that anymore. So maybe
Yeah.
they're not doing it because they're like, we're just going to bring him back in episode 8, and then they'll start off the. What if instead of you have Luke and Rey
Mm-hmm.
on the island to start the movie, it's the hand out of the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
That's the opening shot.
Oh man, I can't believe I just thought of that. But it would so work if he's a Knight of Ren. That's fine, but I'm more excited for that idea than anything.
Yeah, so am I, especially because I just don't know how it would work with Kylo Ren being what we believe is the leader of the Knights of Ren.
Mm-hmm.
To have somebody like Benicio del Toro be his sidekick or like apprentice or second in command, that would feel off.
Unless he was a part of the Knights of Ren before Kylo, was pushed into joining their ranks, and then Kylo ends up wiping them all out. But the simpler, more fun answer is Boba Fett, and I hope that's true.
Yeah.
Hope
Even
it's true.
if it's not Boba Fett, just a bounty hunter type character would be like very interesting to see, I think.
Totally.
Do you have any thoughts on Laura Dern or Kelly Marie Tran?
I actually haven't seen too many films with Laura Dern or Kelly Marie, so
I figured you'd
without
be-
my knowledge,
I figured you'd be all over Laura Dern from Jurassic Park.
Laura Dern. I don't even know who she plays.
I don't know who her character is, but I know it's on IMDb that she's
I'm awful.
in the movie, and she was in some other stuff. Kelly Marie Tran's done like nothing basically, besides like a couple of really small TV shows. So maybe she'll be, in 2017. Maybe she'll be 2017's Daisy Ridley, just a breakout star who kind of takes Hollywood and the world by storm.
Oh my goodness, I feel like a moron now. She plays Ellie, Dr. Grant's
Yeah.
girlfriend. Yes, the paleontologist. All right, I had a mental brain fry there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's a great actress. I can't believe I forgot her name.
What do you? I'm assuming she will be some type of political figure, probably.
Political?
Which,
yes.
like somebody that's dealing with the Galactic Empire, whatever it's called now, the Resistance.
Sure.
Just kind of because since they're all kind of destroyed, it looked like in episode 7, somebody is gonna have to be there to kind of help keep control of the galaxy.
I don't know her range as an actress, but she could easily be a First Order general too, causing heck for maybe Finn and Poe on the other side of the galaxy.
But kind of if Finn and Poe are gonna go head to head with the First Order, yeah, I almost said Empire. I was like, no,
it's
that's
hard.
not it. There's too many. But if they're gonna go head to head with the First Order, I would rather them go up against Phasma because she's coming back for sure. So just like, they've gotten a lot of backlash for how little they used her in episode 7. So just give her a prominent role and let especially for Finn and Phasma eventually meeting up and possibly squaring off. That would be just great for the characters.
It'll be interesting to see how they play out because Laura Dern could definitely kill it in any role that they give her, especially the political type figure.
And then I'm just assuming like Kelly Marie Tran's a love interest for Finn, probably.
For Finn?
Yeah.
You really don't think
he's not getting with Rey? No way.
You're gonna go ahead and just ship him with Poe then, or ship Rey with Poe?
Yeah.
If they even do that. Maybe Rey doesn't even need a man.
No,
so
Rey's a strong, independent woman. She don't need no man.
I don't.
Besides me,
if there's a relationship for Rey, it's with Finn. I don't even care.
I don't know. It looked like they sealed the friend zone with that forehead kiss at the end.
He was unconscious. Unconscious. What's next?
Next up. We talked about Deadpool last week, and thank you to everybody who listened. It's like one of our biggest listened to podcasts so far. So thank you to everybody who listened. It was great, and we talked about the box office success and how everybody's just going out and seeing it. and how the R rating could possibly, there's a lot of talk about how the R rating could change movies, and there's going to be an influx of superhero movies and action movies rated R, and it looks like Fox might be trying to do that again, because at a recent toy convention, a pamphlet revealed a new logo for Wolverine 3 with just a Wolverine, and then there's the Wolverine claw marks behind it to symbolize the 3. Similar to like it kind of reminded me of like Jurassic Park.
That is exactly what I wrote in my notes. Jurassic Park 3's logo with the claw mark right through it.
But on the pamphlet at the toy convention, underneath the logo it said anticipated rating, and then next to that was R. So first off, does Wolverine 3 need to be rated R, or is Fox just trying to piggyback off Deadpool?
Wolverine 3, in my opinion, doesn't need to be rated R. But after seeing the last Wolverine movie, it was kind of hard to think, how is this not rated R?
Yeah.
Because I think if they could have gone for it, they would have gone for it. And with the success of Deadpool, that just basically says, hey, people are going to go see rated R superhero movies now. So,
yeah. With Wolverine, the last one, I know they filmed it with the intention of it being R, but Fox was just reluctant to do it. So then they released it in PG-13, and then on home video there was the R-rated cut you could watch. I haven't seen it because I was not a fan of that movie, so I have no idea if that's any good or not. But I do think Wolverine, it doesn't need to be rated R, but a Wolverine movie with an R rating intrigues me a lot, not just because it's Deadpool, but just having Wolverine be extra violent. And one of his best scenes was in First Class, where Xavier and Magneto were trying to recruit him to be part of the original X-Men, and they walk up to him at a bar and he just says F off, and then
they
walk out like, all right, see ya.
We're done here.
So just being able to have him do more just of that kind of nature of humor. I mean, Wolverine's not an inherently like hilarious character like Deadpool.
No.
So he doesn't need to have an R rating and have vulgar jokes or something, but just from a violence standpoint, I mean, Deadpool wasn't overly gory, but it definitely had its moments where he's chopping dudes' heads off and kicking them. Like having Wolverine just, slicing through guys would be great to watch.
Definitely. As long as they don't take the rated R, take that R rating and use it senselessly. There were a few moments in Deadpool, like we said last week, where I felt that maybe they took advantage of the R rating more than they should have. But as long as they use it to bring out, like you said, Wolverine is a violent character, especially in some of his standalone comics. If you ever seen a couple of those, so it could definitely make for a better movie where the director doesn't have to fear a certain shot because of the PG-13 rating that will ultimately be slapped on it. So I'm really ready for an R. I would definitely go see an R-rated Wolverine 3 for sure. Yeah,
and like the Wolverine movies haven't been that successful financially in terms of just like they're gonna go and make $150 million opening weekend, but so putting R rating on it isn't going to significantly detract from its box office numbers, I don't think, and it could actually increase it, especially building off Deadpool.
Right.
Especially, with all the buzz Deadpool's doing, I would not be surprised if Deadpool either shows up in the movie at some point or does some sort of like mock trailer for Wolverine 3.
Definitely, I would agree too. Yeah, something where he's just like, oh, so my rated R superhero movie, does well, so now they're going to do it with this guy? Come on.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Something else that we talked about Star Wars 8 starting production last week, as well as Guardians 2, but now we have an official cast and an image and synopsis for Guardians 2. The synopsis just basically talks about how there's going to be an awesome mix volume 2, which is great. I'm ready for that soundtrack. I'll buy it the first day it comes out.
Absolutely.
No matter what. And that the story is about the Guardians finding out the parentage to Peter Quill, which was seated at the very end of Guardians 1. And then, so James Gunn took to social media this week to reveal the first photo for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, showcasing the new logo next to the whole cast, And to quote Daenerys and Saul, they still look like, quote, a bunch of a-holes. Some of the new cast members that have joined, we don't know roles for most of them, but the heavily rumored Kurt Russell is in fact going to be in it. Most likely as Star-Lord's father. It's not confirmed yet. Pom Klementieff is joining the cast. She was rumored at one point to be playing Mantis. Jim's going to confirm that.
Mm-hmm.
And then two new names, Elizabeth Debicki and Chris Sullivan, also joined the movie. What are you excited about this? What are your thoughts?
Well, yes, I'm so glad to see that Kurt Russell is now officially on board as potentially Star-Lord's father. So I absolutely revere that man now. Chris Sullivan and Elizabeth Debicki,
Mm-hmm.
not too sure how they're going to do, because I've only seen Elizabeth Debicki in a movie, and that's her role as Jordan in The Great Gatsby, and that's really a side role. So it'll be interesting to see what part they have for her, if it's something small or a lot larger, because we still don't have idea of a villain for them yet, do we?
I mean, Star-Lord's dad, from what it sounds like, would be the villain, but there was also talk at one point of Matthew McConaughey passing on the villain role, and he wouldn't really fit the age range for Star-Lord's father, so there could be a whole separate character playing the villain that hasn't been cast yet, and they're still working out that deal, so that wasn't announced.
Sure.
But yeah, I would assume Kurt Russell is going to be, kind of the main antagonist, but I just don't know what he'd be doing. Pom Klementieff as Mantis makes me excited just because she's a really weird character, first off, but just having another member to the Guardians team will be nice to see. Elizabeth Debicki, I know her probably most from Man from U.N.C.L.E. She was kind of like the main villain in that, and I thought she was really good. And so I don't know what kind of role she could have. Maybe she's helping out Kurt Russell in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Another thought would be like Moondragon, who's a Guardian in the comics. I'd be interested to see her play that role. And then Chris Sullivan, I really have no idea who he's going to be. But I really like the image as well, just because they showed little baby Groot up on Drax's shoulder. So then it makes you like kind of wonder, how long is he going to be baby Groot the whole movie? And then there's like some people have been speculated that Mantis will be the one to help him, because she has powers with plants and be able to grow them and stuff. So maybe she'll be able to help just grow Groot up and everything. But yeah, I'm really excited for this movie, and I'm just waiting for more official word on who Kurt Russell's playing. My theory is he's another older Guardian. Like it is Starhawk, which he kind of looks the part, and he's one of like the older characters from the comics. So he kind of, if they make him all powerful, kind of, then they would kind of be able to explain how Peter Quill is able to hold the Power Stone at the very end of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
And then, Kurt Russell's always, if someone ever had to replace like Han Solo, I would want it to have been, or Harrison Ford as Han Solo, would have wanted it to have been Kurt Russell. So he just fits that entire role of, like being a Guardian or whatever the case may be. But Carrie Gillian still is going to be in this movie, so her character could definitely play a role.
Yeah, she's definitely come back, and there's been rumors that her and Yondu will join the Guardians team during the movie, which I am interested to see. And then Glenn Close as Nova Prime, kind of leader of the Nova Corps, she's also been confirmed to return.
Good.
So I don't know what kind of role they'll play, because James Gunn said there's no Thanos in this movie and no Infinity Stones. So the Nova Corps has an Infinity Stone in their possession right now, so I don't know how they'll play a factor in it, but I just can't wait for this movie.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The hype is beginning for it. That's for sure. But on another Kurt Russell note,
yeah, you have a little fun story.
I do have a fun story. Something that made me laugh pretty outrageously at work the other day, and it has to do with the Hateful Eight. Are you familiar with the scene where Jennifer Jason Leigh is playing guitar about halfway through the film, and Kurt Russell comes up to her, compliments her, and then she finally plays an outrageous verse that it basically insults him, and then he takes the guitar and smashes it to bits.
Yeah, I remember that scene.
Well, it turns out that the guitar that they used in the film was from the Martin Museum, built back in the 1870s, and it was on loan there, and they were supposed to pause the scene, reset, replace the real guitar with one of 8 replicas for Kurt Russell to destroy. Well, no one told Kurt Russell about the replicas, and he carries out the scene completely smashing the Martin guitar, the priceless artifact there. So that came out from SNN Insider from Mark Ulano, one of the sound mixers, and I just like that Kurt Russell having that happen to him just so fits with my image of the guy.
Yep.
So,
yeah, and like, 'cause I read a little bit about the story after you told it to me, and basically, like, there's a reaction shot right after Kurt Russell smashes it in the movie, and of Jennifer Jason Leigh just like up close, and she's just in shock, and that's a genuine shot of her reacting to, cause her knowing that that's the real one, no, like her reacting to him just destroying and a priceless artifact.
It's so great too because she's actually she's playing the guitar herself. She has that talent and she knows what she's holding.
Oh, yeah.
She knows to be careful with it. And then Kurt just smashes it to bits. That's so classic.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's probably gonna get in a little bit of trouble for that.
Yeah, they had to pay back the guitar. The Martin Museum will no longer be lending out replica guitars or real guitars to anyone. And a funny side note, though, they did ask for the pieces of the guitar back so they could display them in the museum as the guitar that Kurt Russell dismantled. But yeah, it just goes into the archive of unplanned movie scenes that turn out great, with probably the number one being The Dark Knight, where Heath Ledger, the Joker's trying to blow up the museum. The detonator doesn't activate, and so Heath Ledger reacts in character, smashing the thing with a fist until they actually get the explosions off.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of dances out.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed reading about that one after you told me.
Definitely.
We're going to move on to some more news before we get to our review. But previously we talked about how Taron Egerton from Kingsman: The Secret Service praised the potential villain in the follow-up movie Kingsman 2, and how it'll be better than Samuel L. Jackson's villain from the first. And now this week we got some info on who might be playing that villain, as the Hollywood Reporter revealed that Julianne Moore is in talks to play the villain role. When I saw it, I was like, yes, I'm sold immediately. I don't know. Just Julianne Moore's always kind of been, at least what I've seen her in, she's more of a serious actor, but she's kind of goofy in like Big Lebowski and stuff. But seeing her as a kind of a potentially very goofy, quirky villain in Kingsman, I am all ready for that.
Julianne Moore has, I think, of all the actresses that are out there, I think she has like some of the greatest range of anyone that I know. From President Coin in The Hunger Games to her Oscar-winning character in Still Alice. Like, that was a really good dramatic role. And then there's her. She even played Sarah Palin in a movie back in 2012.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting to learn. It was an HBO movie, Game Change. Didn't get really good reviews or anything or reaction, but seeing her play Sarah Palin was kind of interesting. And then, her Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, where she plays, the spunky paleontologist, Jeff Goldblum's girlfriend. So I am definitely excited to see her play a villain she could definitely rival Samuel L. Jackson's in the first Kingsman.
Yeah, I can't wait. I know there's been talk that this is going to be more of a global movie, so I'm just really looking forward to see how this movie comes together. Matthew Vaughn's officially back to direct. I know that I saw that in the report from THR, so that's great news. I think it's supposed to come out in 2017, so that'll probably be one of my most anticipated movies of that year. But then we also got a few release dates for movies coming out, or at least one in 2017 and one in 2018 for some more sequels. With that being John Wick Chapter 2, that's the official title, is going to be hitting theaters February 10th, 2017. And then Blade Runner 2 is going to finally make it to theaters in January 12th of 2018. Are you excited about these movies? There's been some worry online about, both these movies are getting, very early release dates in the year, which is typically kept for garbage movies.
Yeah, in late Oscar season releases too. Blade Runner, I think, is going to do well. I'm excited for number one. And I expect it to do well because it's another nostalgia movie for a lot of people. It's a good nostalgia movie, in the same way that Star Wars was, and Terminator to a point, but this Terminator Genesis just kind of made things ridiculous. So with the time that Blade Runner's taking to come out, which I don't think it's too early, but I'm really anxious to see Harrison Ford pass the torch if there's going to be movies after this. But I think Ryan Gosling is a really good character to add to the franchise if it's going to continue. I really like Blade Runner, and Denis Villeneuve is the director for that, and he did Sicario and Prisoners, which were both outstanding movies. So him doing this and kind of answering that question of, is Harrison Ford, what's the term they use, a replicant? Yes.
So is he a replicant, or is he an actual real person? And then who's Ryan Gosling playing? A lot of interesting questions to be answered for Blade Runner 2 and kind of when it will take place. Then John Wick Chapter 2, I don't know if you saw the first one, but I really that's one of the best action movies in recent memory. There's some great fight scenes in that, and the opening, John Wick is not necessarily a good guy, but after the first 10 minutes of the movie, you're just do whatever you got to do, man. I'm totally on board, and I don't want to spoil anything because it's just so good. So if you haven't seen John Wick, go out and see it. You'll be on team John Wick after the first 10 or 15 minutes. No problem.
I was going to ask you about John Wick because I have not seen it. I've only seen 3 Keanu Reeves movies in my entire life, and those being all the
Matrix
Matrixes.
movies.
Yes. So
he's got some good ones.
I just thought it was sort of an extension of the Matrix, only with a lot more guns and a really darker vibe.
Yeah, you could make that comparison.
Is the story better?
The story, it has a very simple plot, but it's just a great action movie. So this one's going to be set in Rome, Chapter 2 is. So I don't know what's going to take him there, but I'm on board.
I'm willing to bet it's either justice, revenge, and that's about it.
Yeah, because they don't really leave a lot of open holes for what he could do next. I would continue the storyline of the first one, but who knows? I'll be there opening day, no question about it.
How about another movie you'll be there opening day for?
I'll be there opening. I'll be there the night before it opens. I'll be there the day it opens. The next 7 days after it opens. Captain America: Civil War. There is been a lot of hype around this movie. Falcon will be in it, played by Anthony Mackie, and he's been promoting his movie 999, which we may talk about on the podcast at some point in the future. We don't know. I'm very much looking forward to it. But he may have accidentally revealed that Mark Ruffalo is actually in the movie after all. Rob Downey Jr. previously stated that Ruffalo was in the movie. With Ruffalo, that was the first time he heard about it. He was like, if Rob Downey Jr. says it, then I guess I'm in the movie. But then the director's been like, yeah, we had plans to have him in the movie, but we cut it just for story purposes. And then Ruffalo had said that they cut it because they're saving him for a bigger return, and now we know he's going to be in Thor Ragnarok. But how he gets to there, that point, we have no idea. So while talking to BBC Radio 1, Anthony Mackie said he has seen the movie, and he said what part of it makes it so great is, quote, you get to see Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson and Mark Ruffalo and everybody just do really, really good acting. So based on Mackie's comments, looks like we might be getting some sort, it doesn't have to be the Hulk necessarily, but some sort of role with Mark Ruffalo.
It'll be curious to see how they go about that, because obviously we have not seen him at all in the marketing. I don't know, and the way Anthony Mackie said that was that they're all in the same shot, is what it sounds like. Like they're all playing off each other. It's not just a random cutaway to whatever Bruce Banner is up to. So unless Hulk sides with Captain, and that's what gets Thor banished from Earth, could that be how he gets off the planet?
Yeah.
And Thor's busy elsewhere, so he doesn't know that Bruce Banner ends up on the other planet?
Yeah, that's what I'm still trying to figure out, how it works together, because they're bringing back Thunderbolt Ross from The Incredible Hulk. William Hurt. We were bringing this character back after 8 years of not seeing him. He's coming back to play that role, and in the comics, he's somebody that transforms into Red Hulk. And there's been rumors that could actually happen in this movie. And you can't have one Hulk. You can't stop a Hulk without another Hulk. The Incredible Hulk proved that. You just can't do it. So the only way, if Red Hulk does appear, would be to have Hulk battle him. And Ruffalo was near set, or where they were filming at one point. And people just said, oh, no, he's just there visiting. But come on.
Yeah.
We're not that dumb, Marvel.
Exactly.
I'm on to you. And what I think is happening is after we've seen glimpses of the airport fight.
Mm-hmm. That's
going to take some casualties. Looks like it pretty badly injures Rhodey and others. And maybe that causes William Hurt, General Ross to, kind of take action to his own hands. Be like, okay, well, if you guys can't stop each other, I'll stop him. And he'll transform to Red Hulk, and then Bruce Banner. Because all we know is that Hulk crashed the Quinjet into an ocean somewhere on Earth. We don't know where he is, but if he's out there somewhere hiding, and then he hears and he sees reports that Red Hulk's out there, he goes, fights him, destroys a bunch of stuff, and then, just like kind of in the comics where they set up World War Hulk, the Illuminati group of like Cap and Doctor Strange and Black Panther and Black Bolt and everybody, like they send him off and they trick him into going into space, and that's how he gets there, which would cut some stuff out of Thor Ragnarok where they don't have to explain how he gets to that planet. But then there's also rumors that like Nick Fury could show up in Ragnarok. So I don't know if that kind of contradicts, because like they could explain using Nick Fury and doing some sort of shot there, or they could explain in Captain America Civil War. All I know is more Hulk is the best. And if he's in it, I will be happy, as long as it doesn't feel it's like totally out of place. If it's just like they're in the middle of battle, then Hulk just comes flying out of nowhere, and then he disappears again. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's the worry for me, is you need to explain where Bruce Banner, the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo is coming from when he gets back into this, because they made a point to get him out of the scene in Age of Ultron. So if you bring him back in some ridiculous way where he just, like you said, flies into the screen, punches up Red Hulk, and then flies off, and then next time you see him, he's on a completely different planet, that won't awful. Be good. But I trust the Russo brothers know what they're doing. They proved that with Winter Soldier. So that scenario doesn't worry me too much.
Yeah. I think if he shows up, it would literally be just for like 5 minutes, just for one action sequence. He destroys some stuff, and they're like, then at the end of the movie, like a post-credit scene, they find him, and then they shoot him off into space. And then that's how and then like they shoot him off in space, and the second post-credit scene is him landing on another planet with a gladiator-style ring around him and guards. Man, and then it's like then Hulk will return in Thor Ragnarok, and then everybody would lose their minds.
Right, everyone cheers.
But that is the end of our news segment. We're going to move on to our review of Zoolander 2, the long-anticipated sequel to the classic Zoolander movie, where it just gives some sort of a brief plot synopsis that I don't know how to do this without some maybe slight spoilers because it wasn't really marketed like that. But all I'll say is Zoolander and Hansel are back in the fashion world, and they get involved in another conspiracy plot against them, and they have to do whatever it takes to, get help and try to stop whatever evil threat is in their way. We're going to do some quick brief thoughts, ratings, spoiler free, and then we'll move into some more spoilery talk, I guess, about the movie and its plot. And you want to start, or I can?
I threw it to you last time to start.
So you're going to go?
I'm going to go, and I'm going to get this out of the way. Going to see Zoolander 2. I had not seen the first one. So right there, red flag about my feelings on this. I really thought I was going to waste my money. So I get there with a couple people that adored the first one, like huge Ben Stiller fans. So that doesn't mean anything to me because they not cry, but they swoon over everything that he does. And I like Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers. Those are great. So the very beginning was pretty classic. I mean, I'd seen it before in all the trailers. Bieber getting totally wasted in slow motion, like pumped full of lead like 1,000 times. So that was really entertaining, even though I'd seen it 100 times. They made a lot of tech jokes, like modern day things that I really thought were funny, but anything that relegated to the past movie or like about their characters, I just didn't get until I ended up watching the first Zoolander afterwards.
Okay.
So then, in hindsight, when I replay those moments in my head, they're hilarious, especially with the tiny phone.
Yeah.
Like I love that. It's when he gets the joke around of how our phones have increased in size. To rating it the first night would have given it 2 stars.
Yeah, we didn't think of a rating system for this one.
Yeah.
2 blue steels.
Yeah, 2 blue steels. But after seeing the first Zoolander and finally getting the humor, I would give it 3 because it kept doing what it was supposed to be doing.
Okay, that's kind of interesting.
I know.
At the very end, I wasn't expecting you to go up a full blue steel at the end.
Yes, so that's my.
For me, I also would give it 3 blue steels. I love the first one. It is so funny. There are great moments. Just like the gas fight and everything they're just classic stuff, and like that Hansel is so hot right now, and there's so many good parts with the first one. And for the first 10 minutes of the movie, I'm like, man, this thing is I'm loving it. Like you said, the Justin Bieber opening sequence in the trailers was always kind of I was just like, Justin Bieber, like of course they're gonna put Justin Bieber in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hilarious. I'll give it to him because it was probably one of my most enjoyable scenes, just watching Justin Bieber just getting sprayed with bullets and it's just close up of his face, and he's like, looks like he's just gonna like pass out, and it's so funny. Me and my friend Colin were just dying in the theater, and it was like us and like 3 other people, and that was it. And then they ended up leaving, like 20 minutes in the movie.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I couldn't.
It was just awesome. We were just dying at good parts, bad parts throughout the whole movie. But I mean, from a story standpoint, the plot is stupid and unimaginative, and it's just so generic. Coming off, if you give a plot synopsis of the very first Zoolander movie, it is a male model is brainwashed by a fashion executive into killing the Prime Minister of Malaysia, and he gets help from from his competitor male model. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that is a great plot. This one is, I can't say really, just 'cause I don't know what people consider spoilers anymore, because the term spoiler is just like thrown around everywhere.
It's vague.
Yeah.
It's very vague.
Like, just, I don't even know what I can say as a spoiler. But, so I thought the story, especially the middle, like it was like an hour 40, probably the movie was, I think. And the middle 45 minutes I thought were just really bad. Yeah. But from, coming into it, kind of expecting it to be kind of dumb, Zoolander and Hansel as characters, I still thought they were just like they were in the first movie. They were still stupid, funny. They didn't understand everything. Since it is a comedy, I thought it had just enough jokes to make it worth it. Like the Justin Bieber gag was funny. There's a scene right at the very beginning where Zoolander gets a Netflix subscription, and he's like, Jack Ryan and Jack Reacher, I'm gonna have a Jack attack tonight. It's so funny.
Yeah. Oh, I do like the scene too where they flash to the northern North New Jersey, and it's a complete like ice wasteland.
Yeah.
So I like that. I mean, a good New Jersey bash always plays well.
And then like I really liked the way they told kind of what had happened in the 10 years between Zoolander 1 and Zoolander 2, and kind of what had happened, and like the fact that the permanent scar that Hansel has on his face after being a fire burn victim and the whole building falling on top of him is a little scar, and then Zoolander's like throwing up because he's like, oh, you're so hideous, I can't even look at you. Like that was really funny, and a good ongoing joke.
Yeah.
Those are probably some of the ones that stood out the most to me. But yeah, that's probably all I can say about stuff without spoilers.
Yeah, you gotta also mention that the school or the center for children to learn how to read good was built out of the same materials from the first one.
Yeah, it's built out of popsicle sticks and. Oh yeah, that was just great.
That was one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite scenes from the first one. Is where he walks up to it and then he's just like, "This is ridiculous. I hate this."
He's like, "What is this? A center for ants?"
Yes. And he's like, "It needs to be at least 3 times that size."
Yeah, and then Mugatu's just kind of looking around. He's like, "Yeah, yeah, we'll get right on that." It's like, man, this guy's an idiot.
I know. That was one of my favorite scenes from the first one. The second one.
Second one, there's nothing.
It's more of the same.
There's just if I watch it more, there'll be scenes that stuck out to me a lot. But after the first 15 minutes, I can't really pick out like any single like scene or moment that was like hilariously funny to me. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing nearly as memorable as the gas fight in the first one. There
are not thousands, but there are at least 50, 60 cameos like all throughout this movie, from Katy Perry, Ariana Grande to Tommy Hilfiger, Benedict Cumberbatch as all. Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was a good one.
My favorite being Neil deGrasse Tyson. I mean, that guy is blowing up. So that was a weird voice. I'm not going to do that. But I loved seeing him in there. He was classic. I'll remember that. But after seeing the first one and understanding what Zoolander is, it's a cult movie. I mean, that's really what it is. And when I thought about it, same thing with Anchorman. People either like Anchorman or they don't. Mm-hmm. And if you don't like the Anchorman humor, you're not going to like the second one. So after going back and realizing that, oh, wow, these guys are just flat out idiots this entire time, and it's not just because they couldn't adapt to the modern world type of a deal, it made me appreciate the second one a lot more, enough to move it up on my Blue Steel rating system, or our Blue Steel rating system.
We'll move into plot spoilers. just because there's stuff I want to talk about, and it wasn't really marketed like it, so I don't want to talk about it, and then people potentially be upset about us revealing certain things. So from this point on, we'll be revealing spoilers. We're not holding anything back. So if you're still listening, you haven't seen the movie, I would probably stop unless you just don't care about being spoiled, because honestly, it doesn't really matter because the story just kind of sucks anyways.
Yes.
But for me, probably the thing that annoyed me the most, well, there are probably like 3 things that I really didn't like about the movie. The cameos, there were some good ones. Like you mentioned, Benedict Cumberbatch, I really like that one.
Yeah.
But for the rest of it, it's like they just pop up every like 15 seconds. There's another cameo. It's like probably one of the other good ones was when Hansel, right after Hansel and Zoolander reconnect at the airport, and they're going on the little walkway thing, and then the photographers are taking pictures of them. They're like, "Oh, don't look at me!" And then Susan Boyle comes like jumping through and gives all the reporters the finger. That was pretty funny. But yeah, like Ariana Grande, who I like, I was like, "Why is she in this movie? That's weird." Katy Perry's was weird. It just like felt all out of place. And like MC Hammer in the prison cell, like I was like, "What? Like, why is?" Like, I get, like, sure, you invented the hammer pants or whatever, but come on, like, why is MC Hammer in this movie? Like, no, like, I didn't make me laugh, and I felt like a lot of them were supposed to make me laugh, especially like the one of Fred, whatever his last name is, I can't remember.
Amstram.
Yeah, he's on the Late Show with Seth Meyers, right?
He's there often.
He's their like band guy, but he was on like CGI'd onto a little kid body, and I just hated it. Right from the get-go, the first scene he was in, he's like, "Hi, guys. I'm 11. It's like, what? It's like, you're clearly Fred, whatever your name is, but my goodness, this is so weird to look at. And just, like, it totally threw me off.
He did have a good line about, making fun of their phone, and then his farm-to-table Wi-Fi joke, which I didn't first get, but, I mean, I thought it wasn't bad, but...
Yeah, that wasn't bad. Let's see, what else did I not like? Zoolander Jr. was kind of like a big part of the story. I was just like...
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
Because like it's not marketed that way. And the whole middle part of the movie is him going after and trying to find his son. And I was like, nothing against the kid, but like just the whole character of Zoolander Jr. being in the movie and then being the chosen one or whatever. I was like, nope, this is so stupid. And I hated it. And he was just a whiny little brat who hated his dad. I mean, it gets understandable. He wasn't there or whatever. He killed his mom unintentionally, but
he didn't know how to make spaghetti soft.
Yeah, that was a good gag. That was a funny one. Yeah, I didn't like Zoolander Jr. And then probably the most annoying part of the movie.
Yeah, I think we both have the same.
By far.
Yeah.
Is Kristen Wiig is kind of set up as the villain in the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's not used like at all. Like probably her best moment was when they're like, when she first appears, like, oh, it's her. They say she doesn't even walk. She glides, and it just like shows her, and she literally just gliding across the floor. That was funny. But then she has this stupid assistant that's like, he's not really an assistant. He's like an up and coming designer. I can't remember what his name is, but he is so annoying. I could not stand him. All of his jokes were, I mean, there's probably supposed to be jokes. I didn't laugh at anything he said. Every time he came on screen, I was immediately upset because I just wanted him gone. And his best scene by far is when Mugatu is like interrogating him, and he flips over and just breaks his neck with his legs, and then he's dead. That was his best scene when he died. So that tells you how much I like that character. He was just terrible.
That's usually only something reserved for like The Walking Dead. Yikes. Okay, well, is that like your biggest issue?
Yeah,
okay,
probably.
So it's not that there was almost no Will Ferrell.
Well, yeah, that was pretty bad too.
I didn't like that. I was the reason I got my butt into that theater was Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And Yeah, he's in like the last 15 minutes. Like, that's being generous. So, I love. I mean, in hindsight now, after seeing the first one, I love the character even more than I did when I initially saw him, because I was like, wow, that was so underplayed. Like, so that, I mean, that was the biggest thing for me. Like you said, like, yeah, the chosen one. It references back to biblical times where there was Adam, Eve, and Steve was the first male model. It was. I didn't laugh in the theater, but thinking back to how odd of a plot line that is, I mean, it's hard not to laugh at it, I guess. But
yeah, but not in the way they probably intended it.
Right.
Like, you're laughing at how dumb it is, not
right.
at, oh, that's funny.
And maybe that's the whole point. I don't know. Like, to laugh at how dumb it was that someone thought of this to make a plot point. But it just felt like with Junior, it felt like a forced. It felt like a plot that they could use so they could jam in all of their jokes and cameos around it.
Yeah.
And well, that part wasn't great. I mean, I definitely laughed more than I thought. I definitely laughed a lot more than I thought after getting that first Zoolander down, for sure.
Yeah, going into it with like, it had like a 23% on Rotten Tomatoes or something. I was like, goodness gracious, that's terrible. So I was not expecting something like, like I said, like the very first part, like I was laughing. And then once Will Ferrell got in the movie, every time he was on screen, basically I was laughing.
Yeah. Just
because he was still Mugatu, and like his opening, like his entry scene where he's chained up, and he's trying to, and Zoolander's in there, and he's like trying to get him to free him, and Zoolander thinks he's using like, what's the word?
Telekinesis, mind control.
Yeah, like mind control. Yeah. To get him to do what he wants. He's like, "You want me not to free you?"
Oh, well, reverse psychology.
Yeah, reverse psychology.
Yes.
He's like, well, then I'm gonna do it. He's like, no. So he, like, Mugatu's just kind of looking at him like, this guy's still this stupid. And he's like, no, don't free me. And he's like, well, I'm gonna do it. And it's just like, it's just so funny. And then then it cuts, and then Zoolander chained up, and he's like, ha, gotcha. And then Mugatu's like, man, you're dumb. And then he puts on these homemade masks he made. It's supposed to look like him. It's supposed to look like Zoolander and Mugatu, and it looks nothing like them, but it is so funny just because of how bad it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then he proceeds to go and rip off this bulk suit and bald cap, and then he goes in the helicopter and he just has that weird, like, these like weird like sexual looks with his assistant.
Yeah.
It's like, where's my latte?
Right.
It's just great. Like, Will Ferrell is still super funny in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, the beginning and then when Will Ferrell got in the movie was the best parts. But somebody that's kind of important throughout the whole movie kind of was like Penelope Cruz. She's supposed to be like kind of like the third lead.
Yeah.
And she just did like nothing. Like, she was great to look at.
Yeah.
Like there were certain scenes where they just went out of their way to make her incredibly sexual, and just have shots of her breasts and her clutching them, and then Ben Stiller like holding on to them.
Yeah, that was the most perplexing part of the film for me, because even what she says doesn't even make scientific sense about why Ben Stiller has to do that.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I felt like she did a great job. It's just that it wasn't integral to.
No, she just had nothing really to do. It's just like,
other than
it's
being
like the idea of her being a ex swimsuit model that couldn't move up the ranks of supermodel world was an interesting like concept for a character. But then the fact that there's like, oh, you can't move up because your boobs are too big. It's like, what?
Right. That was the part was like, okay, they just want to do that. I mean,
they just want a reason to have shots of her boobs, and I mean, it's fine, but it's just like, this doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything for the story.
No.
I mean, you can find humor in it. I found it like, especially in like, like the Netflix jokes where he's still getting them on DVD type
Yeah.
of deal. Like that was supposed to be funny too. Like I loved all the things like that.
Yeah. Probably one of her best scenes though was when they were trying to figure out, cause like the like model agents or the fashion world was killing off all these iconic famous people, and every time they die, they would die with a blue steel look, and so she was trying to find a connection between the two, and that's how Zoolander gets back involved in the story and everything. And then once she like kind of gets a connection between Zoolander and the deaths, she starts analyzing the photos between like what happened, and she's like, these have no connection to blue steel. And then he's like, this isn't blue steel. He's like, are you crazy? And he's like, it's the face I used in some soap or like some, I don't remember what it was, like a weird like milk commercial. And he was like, I don't remember what it was called. It started with like an A. And it was just really funny because then he's like, look at the eyebrow, it's up 2 degrees. He's like, and my face, it's not like that, it's like this. He's like, oh, and she's like, oh wow, I didn't realize how complex these faces were. It's like, that was really funny. And
I didn't get that joke either until I watched the first one and realized that, oh, he's only got one move. And then when Will Ferrell's like yelling that at him at the end of the movie before he stops the ninja star, I was like, oh, that is, okay. Yeah. Then I finally put like, 2 and 2
blue
together.
Steel.
Yeah.
Blue steel. One look.
Yeah.
One look.
And then everyone's like, Magnum. Ooh,
yeah.
That's classic.
Yeah.
So
that was another thing I didn't like though, was the very end at the climax of the movie. It is Mugatu's trying to blow up the whole fashion world basically, and he's tricked them into going there to kill off the chosen one, which was apparently a fake thing that was actually turned out to be true. Crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's really bad storytelling.
True, not
but
true.
So like Zoolander tries to stop it using Magnum again, and he stops it from falling into the lava and blowing it up, but he doesn't have all the power to be able to lift it up and not have it touch at all. But then Hansel and his father coming out of nowhere, they're like, and then they give their Magnums. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Hansel can do Magnum? It's like, this is weird. And then they start lifting up a little bit, and then Mugatu still like tease him like, you can't stop me, your looks aren't powerful enough. And then Zoolander Jr. comes out of nowhere after almost being sacrificed and gives his Magnum look, and then he lifts it up and blows up Mugatu, and I was like, what the heck? Everybody has a Magnum look now? Like, this is terrible. What made the first one so good was the fact that he could stop a throwing star by looking at it. And now he's not powerful enough to stop a bomb from falling. So his stupid son has to come in and make a stupid face, and then it saves the day. What the heck?
But his son is the chosen one.
No, he's not. If there was a chosen one, it'd be Zoolander, the original, the OG.
Yeah, but everyone thought that about Anakin Skywalker too. It turns out Luke is the chosen one. So
is he?
I don't know.
That's a topic for another day.
Absolutely, because then again, Anakin still gets rid of the Emperor at the very last minute.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a Star Wars review though.
This is Zoolander.
Yeah, but do you have any other final words on Zoolander?
Final words on Zoolander to sum it all up.
Or any other thoughts you want to talk about? If you have other points, we can still go.
I've got no other points, but I just want to summarize.
Okay.
Didn't like it at first. Figured out what it was about after watching the first one. Then every time I thought of the second one, I started laughing at moments where I was just like, that's dumb. Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, still very funny people. The movie felt like it was like a last hurrah for the fans, and maybe that's why it was all blown up to such high proportions. So I understand that. I get that. And even though the movie wasn't for me, I still enjoyed it, and now I understand why people love Zoolander so much now.
That is one weird thing you mentioned about like the possible like final chapter, like the final hurrah for these characters. But like I can't remember exactly what the final scene is, but like the way they did it, I was like, are they trying to set it up to make a Zoolander 3? No.
Yeah.
Sorry, I love Zoolander, but no, sorry, this one does not. They don't deserve to make a Zoolander 3, and if they do, I can't even say I won't go see it because I would still go see it. But I would probably hate myself afterwards.
Ben Stiller was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and Stephen asked him that, are you gonna, have a trifecta with this, with Meet the Parents, Night at the Museum, or you could do one with Zoolander, and Ben Stiller kind of like brushed it off, sort of like, nah, this might be it.
That's good. That's how it should be.
Unless
it should have just ended in hindsight after Zoolander 1. But that is the end of the 8th episode of Friends in Film. Got our Zoolander review under our belt. Just wanted to say thanks to everybody who tuned in last week to our Deadpool review. Hopefully you guys are listening again this week and you'll keep tuning in. You liked what you heard. We had quite a bit of views on our SoundCloud page and hooked up to iTunes and stuff. So it was great. That was just great to see the kind of the support coming from us. And like I mentioned, we will be doing some giveaways in the near future, possibly. So if you're interested in those, you should probably follow us on Twitter at Friends in Film, and subscribe on YouTube and SoundCloud, and give us a review on iTunes. Any of those things could make you eligible in the near future for a free t-shirt or movie or poster, anything. We haven't really decided yet when or what we'll be giving away, but over the course of the year, we'll give away a couple of different things.
Yeah, giveaways coming soon. And don't forget to drop us some questions, comments on the social medias as well. Is there a movie that you want us to review, maybe in the past or looking ahead, that may not be on our list of things to go see? So your feedback there is super important too.
Yeah, there's any like news stories that maybe we didn't tweet it out, or you just kind of want us to talk about at some point in the future, like Landry Gonwick. He tweeted us about Star Wars Episode 7 closing in on the $2 billion mark worldwide. So that's great. Mm-hmm. And once it happens, we'll probably briefly talk about it. I jokingly replied, only $1 billion away from passing Avatar.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But
and you thought it'd happen like in the first month.
I thought it would happen within
because you said a $1 billion opening weekend.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much. I didn't realize how big $1 billion was until I
it took
thought about it.
Yeah, $1 billion's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
And maybe one day we'll have like 1 billion views
that
total.
That would be fantastic. Maybe even 1 million.
Yeah, once 1 million. Heck, 100 views would be great.
We'll take 50.
Yeah, just and
for bargaining.
Yeah, like I said earlier, if you enjoy listening to us, but maybe you kind of want to see what we're talking about, if like some new posters drop or a new image for a specific movie comes out, that will be on the YouTube page, and if you click on the YouTube video for the episode, you'll see pictures going along with each of the topics we're talking about. So it's kind of a neat way to maybe get a little visual. If you don't know who an actor is or aren't familiar with something, you'll be able to see who it is right then and there. So enough plugs. You can find me on Twitter at Coops_hoops.
And you can get me, Josh, at Straley Strong on Twitter. Yeah,
once again, follow the podcast on Twitter at Friends in Film. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, SoundCloud, or iTunes, please subscribe, like, share, give us a thumbs up, a review, whatever you want. Just tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, ways to improve, and just keep sharing the word so we keep doing this, and just keep getting better and give you guys what you want to listen to. Thanks again for tuning in to the Friends of Film podcast. Josh?
Hey, thanks for stopping by, guys. We'll see you next time.
And as always, be sure to watch some new movies before we return next week with what will likely be a review of Eddie the Eagle.